Welcome to the Phenomenal Woman interview series, a series powered by Florian London to celebrate, highlight and put the spotlight on women doing phenomenal things in their chosen fields. Today I've got a very special woman with me. I've got my dear friend, Georgia. G, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Georgia. I'm the founder of Kalon Parlour, which is a luxury med spa just off of Oxford Street. And we do everything from facials to massages, nails, waxing, literally a wellness hub that we have here.
Today we're actually shooting from the bar area in the Kalon Parlour. Georgia, do you want to tell me what inspired you to want to create Kalon Parlour?
I actually had a really traumatic experience with my skin. I suffered from severe stress acne, and I was put on some very heavy, strong medication. So strong that you literally can't be pregnant on it. Had to go in monthly for pregnancy tests because if you are pregnant, the baby will be born deformed. So yeah, I took it because I was just desperate at the time. My skin issues caused a lot of confidence issues. I went really, really heavy on makeup and was basically doing things that was making it worse. So my mum worked with the doctor at the time and it was Roaccutane that they put me on, but what they didn't explain to me at the time was the horrible side effects, which I only learned a couple of months in. So I was on it for about 6 months, and 4 months in I started to suffer from severe depression and suicidal thoughts. But it wasn't until my family and friends recognised my deterioration that my mum started to make the correlation, and immediately it was just like, get you off it. Yeah, and it was, it did what it was supposed to do with my skin, but at such a cost. And it was only after a couple of months I had to do a retreat, everything. I actually moved out of London to just heal myself. And it was only after I recovered that I just thought there just has to be healthier ways to deal with stuff like this, because it's fine. We all wanna enhance ourselves. We all wanna look pretty. We wanna be comfortable in our own skin. But it should just never be at the cost of our well-being. So from then I just did a lot of research into more natural ways to deal with skin issues. I got introduced to a lot of different facials, and from then I just grew a sort of passion of self-care. And I thought it would be amazing to have my own space where people could get all those things done, but also know that everything that is being done and the people taking care of them have their wellness in mind. So yeah, it was always something. My trade was law. I just never thought I'd be in a position to do something like this until I had my son, which was 2 months before lockdown for COVID. And I was on maternity leave, and it was only then it was like, I think everyone rethought their lives during COVID. Everyone rethought their lives, but for me it was like, if I just don't take this risk now that I sort of have the free time. I was a new mum, but I had the space to think. If I don't take the risk now, then I'll go back to work, I'll be comfortable and I'll never take the risk. So yeah, I just decided then that I was going to quit work.
Transition from law straight into entrepreneurship. I think you touched on it, but I just want to know more about the kind of woman you had in mind when you created and you launched Kalon Parlour. It
was someone that was conscious about their beauty. What I found was that it's a really saturated market, but a lot of what was being put out there were products that were just really, really bad for your skin. And I think people became a lot more conscious, especially during lockdown, of everything they were putting inside of their bodies and on their skin. So I definitely had someone who cared about their wellness and what they were putting into their systems, from diets to what their daily activities and routines were, to then like beauty, what type of products are they using for their skin, because we don't have anything medical grade here. It's all natural, but science-backed. So yeah, I was very particular with the brands that we stocked.
So more intentional about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you also touched on it that you went from being a lawyer and being in, 9 to 5, working as a lawyer, transitioning into being an entrepreneur. How did you find that transition? I know you said it was during lockdown, but how do you find that transition? Because I'm sure a lot of people are doing 9 to 5s right now, and they're thinking, I'm passionate about this and I'm drawn to starting my own business. Like, what would you
it is passion that kept me going with it because of my personal story, but the transition wasn't easy because they're two very different worlds. So law is corporate and beauty is just very, very different. I guess my background supported me with the business aspect in terms of behind the scenes, but being on the front end, I had to learn, not that I wasn't already, but I had to be more of a people's person and understand people more.
Your network?
Network, 100%, because different people, different stories come through the door, and it's, I had to learn. It was something I had to learn to do, but I'm definitely not the same person I was before.
Why do you think networking is so important when you're transitioning from a corporate world into like an entrepreneur, you know, running your own business? Why is networking so essential and so crucial?
That's a good question. And what comes to mind first, and I've learnt the hard way, is that one person can't do everything, especially when it comes to trying to build a brand, especially in a market that's so saturated. And what I learned the hard way is that having a community behind you that believes in the same things you do, has the same values, is what will really push your brand. Because for me, I have a story, I guess, behind it, and it's not something I blather about, but where I do meet people that connect with me in terms of their passion for wellness, it's something that I guess helps take the brand, and it's heard through different ears, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what it is.
That's interesting. You know, when there's a lot of different buzzwords that people say: self-love, self-care, wellness. Why do you think, I know you're passionate about wellness, why do you think it's important for us as women to sort of embody positive, what's the word I'm looking for, sort of a positive body image, falling in love with yourself, self-love, and you know, it needs to be beyond, I suppose, buzzwords.
Yeah.
People say, why is wellness?
I think there's a lot of pressure on women from society in terms of our appearances, the things we do, how we live our lives. And what I've learned as well, because I never was really about, for example, being natural and healthy. I was the girl with like the 5 different eyeshadow palettes at home. But loving yourself and being authentic to who you are, I think is definitely what a lot of people are coming to more terms with, and accepting ourselves. I think that has been the biggest shake in a lot of industries, is women breaking down the barriers and deciding, no, actually, I like doing this instead of what you're telling me to do. And I feel like the more empowered you are by yourself, the more powerful you are holistically. Yeah,
I love that. And touching on breaking barriers, right? Starting your own business couldn't have been easy. What is the one challenge you remember overcoming when you started Kalon Parlour?
I'm laughing because there's so many. The biggest challenge starting, I think the biggest challenge for me was learning that I couldn't control everything. Yeah, from when I learned to just let go and not be so attached, I guess, because it's my own business, I'm very attached to a lot of things, so things affect me a lot more. But just learning that not everything can be controlled, and just appreciating the process. Once I made that shift in my mindset, I think the process became a lot more smoother. I wouldn't say easier, but smoother. Yeah.
Yeah, what would you also say is the one thing you wish you knew about starting a business that you know now?
I think, and I guess it's more related to the current climate.
Yeah, of course.
Just how unpredictable consumers can be, and just how unpredictable the seasons can be and how they sort of work together. I think I started off with ideas, obviously anticipations, but a lot of things just were thrown into the spanner in terms of the industry one, but also how consumers shopped and stuff. So that was something I definitely wasn't prepared for. So yeah, I think we say a lot plan ahead, but that's often difficult.
Okay. So I guess my next question is, if you could go back 5 years, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently?
Given what you know now. So given what you know now, if you could go back 5 years from now, what would you do differently?
I think I would, it sounds really cliche, but
Yeah,
just live more in the moment. And it sort of links to what I just said, because nothing is set in stone. You can have all these plans for your life for the next 5 years, the next 10 years, but I think everyone's come to realize anything can happen. And I think, yeah, back then I would have just been a bit more easy on myself and what I wanted for my life, and just to enjoy things a lot more. I feel like a lot of time was spent planning, and a lot of good things were therefore missed. Yeah.
So what do you do to enjoy yourself? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Again, it sounds really cliche, but spending time with my family, I think particularly as well, because starting up the business, a lot of time, personal time is taken. So I love the days in the week where I just get to do nothing, literally switch off completely, and just, yeah, show my son the world and spend time with my husband, definitely.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned your son, and I know that starting a business and being a mum is something a lot of people struggle with. You know, if you're working 9 to 5, maybe that your child is in a nursery, you can pick them up. But often as entrepreneurs, you're constantly working throughout the day. Where do you find the balance to just stop working and have that set family time? I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do you find the balance being a mom and an entrepreneur?
Well, there wasn't any balance at the very beginning, and it was something I had to consciously realize and make a plan of action for myself, because at the very beginning I was missing a lot. Like, sometimes I would go home and my husband would be telling me, oh, our son did this, and I would be like, well, when did that happen? And once I realized that I was missing a lot, it really would pull at my heartstrings. Like, I hated it. So I had to decide that, okay, I'm literally going to take this day out of the week to devote myself to him. And if I am in the spa one day, as soon as I go home, that's it. Don't turn on my laptop. It's a conscious effort to do, because obviously I'm trying to push the brand, and I have so many plans for it, but something has to give. So it was a conscious effort. And yeah, so for example, on Fridays, it's my son. I take him out, I do everything, and also learning to trust my team. And letting go and trusting myself in the decisions. Trusting myself in the decisions I've made and the team I've built, to be able to leave them and let go is something I've also learnt to do. And I guess that helps me create the balance.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I liked what you said about shutting off, because one thing I've learnt as well is that with the kids, it's about quality time and quantity sometimes.
Definitely.
Especially when you're a working mom and an entrepreneur. It's the time that you spend with them is solely with them. So you're not distracted, and you're just, this is mommy and time. I think my next question is, to anyone watching this that wants to do that transition, what's the one advice that you would give them? There's people that want to transition from a 9 to 5 to starting their own business or being an entrepreneur. What's the one advice you give to them?
Just do it. Just do it. You're going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be very uncomfortable times. It comes with the game. It is what it is. You have to be uncomfortable to get to wherever you want to get. But deciding to just, deciding to let go and take the risk, you'll be surprised at how rewarding that will be. And you're going to learn on the process, so you shouldn't be afraid. Yeah, basically, don't be afraid of the process and just do it, because it's going to come with its ups and downs, everything will. But once you decide to do that regardless, you'll even enjoy the process a lot more, because you'll learn a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question, and it's around capital. And when I've been on different panel talks, people will ask me that I want to start my own business but haven't saved enough, or I I want to be able to fall back on my 9 to 5 in case my business doesn't work out. What would you say to someone that has very tiny savings or want to believe in themselves and just do it? What advice would you give them in terms of, getting a business plan or just going out there and believing in yourself?
And you just literally said it, believe in yourself, because since starting my own business, I've become a PR company, I've become my own accountant, I've become my own brand designer, and I've learned a lot in doing so, because starting a business, especially a spa, it requires a lot, and if you don't believe in yourself, you'll look to other people to do a lot of things that you could just do yourself. So I learned a lot on the go, and that's what I would advise. If you're unsure, Google literally has everything. Everything.
And just go for it.
Just go for it. Learn on the way, and if you do realise that you need support, look for people that are around you, friends, mentors, partners, whoever. There's always someone that can help you do something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my last question for you judges. What's next for Kalon Parlour?
Oh yeah, so this is the year of growth for us. So we're definitely tapping into the wellness aspects, because we have 3 branches here. So it's beauty, which is the spa, ethics, which are all the brands that we work with, and then the third leg is wellness. So we've started our monthly wellness for women events. We had our first last month, which involved Pilates and hypnotherapy and mindset coaching. We'll be doing a lot of those. We'll also be launching wellness boxes, which will be specially curated boxes filled with wellness products, partnering with up and coming wellness brands. And we'll also be launching a wellness app.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Exciting time. Well done. You're absolutely phenomenal. Built an amazing brand just off Oxford Circus. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming on, and
thank you.
Thank you.